All right, welcome to another episode of Warrior versus Zombie, and I couldn't be more excited today to introduce a new warrior guest to you, Gini Trask, and I'll be coming back to her in a second and tell you about her. But first, I want to remind you why you're here with Warrior versus Zombie. Success is a journey; it's not a destination. As warriors, we all have a history of ups and downs, wins and losses that are all part of making us who we are today and provide a foundation for our path forward. We all battle our inner zombie as well as those zombies in our world. In each episode, I interview warriors who are aspiring leaders from all walks of life: entrepreneurs, artists, health practitioners, business owners, literally any inspired leader that has a story to tell. These warriors have a cause, they have unique value, and they have a vision that goes generations into the future. And today's guest is absolutely no exception. Gini Trask is an awesome warrior. She's an entrepreneur, business owner, speaker, and consultant. Her 25-year warrior journey began in Houston, then moved to northern Colorado for college, then came back to Houston where she joined her mother in a multi-million dollar bus charter business. Today, she travels the world as a speaker and a consultant, helping companies and individuals go beyond compromise to creating solutions that truly make everyone feel that they have won. She teaches the understanding of core needs, solving problems forward, and the superpowers that can transform any issue into an opportunity to win. Now her company, Top Tier Travel, has become a multi-million dollar success, creating one of a kind incentives and experiences for tens of thousands of travelers, something I'd love to do, in the corporate and network marketing space. So, Gini Trask, welcome to Warrior versus Zombie. How are things in Houston today?
Hey, thanks for having me. We're having a beautiful day here in Houston. We're in that window. We're in that perfect window before it's swelteringly hot where you can actually go outside and enjoy yourself. So it is a gorgeous day. I'm here in my sunroom, getting lots of beautiful sunshine. Got the door open, so we got some nice breeze coming in, and it's really lovely. And it's also lovely to be here with you. I'm honored to be a part of your podcast.
Well, I am honored to have you here. I can't wait to hear for the audience and to hear more of your story and that kind of thing. By the way, for my audience, if you're looking at this in the replay and you're seeing this military, this green, this is St. Patrick's Day. I'm the military kind of background, and it is a warrior logo is here for a very specific purpose. My son-in-law is named McLaughlin, and he's in the Air Force, and so this is kind of in honor of my son-in-law's special day. So for Patrick, if you're listening to this, St. Patrick's Day, I'm honoring you in this little introductory segment. But so being in Texas, but being in Dallas, Dallas and Houston are quite different. But I totally get where you're saying in terms of this interesting window of spring and fall, and where we're not dealing with sweltering heat and we're not dealing with ice storms. So loving that, but it could change tomorrow because we're in Texas, right? You never know. So anything else going on in your world? We're gonna get into your story here in a sec, but
Well, I do have COVID, so if I cough a little bit, guys, I'm sorry. I'll do my best to not cough all over you. Good news is we're on Zoom, so I don't transmit COVID through Zoom. God, I hope not. It would really be a tragedy if we could. I don't know what people would do at that point, but I will do my best to not cough throughout this whole show. But yeah, that's what's going on with me. Other than that, though, I'm really embracing it as a chance to really rest and really take part in the balance that I'm always hoping to create in my life. I'm always wanting to create more periods of rest. I'm a very energetic person, and so I'm actually embracing this as a way to say, what would it feel like if I really did rest more in my days, if I had more space in my days. It was actually an intention that I had written down for the month before I got COVID, and then I got COVID, and I was like, you know what? I'm meeting my intentions. It's happening. I'm getting to rest, so I'm taking it as a win.
well, you should. Actually, the thing is, I run my life by what I call divine appointment, and a lot of times I speak into existence or the opportunities kind of show up when I declare my intention or whatever. And the beauty of it is, I'm so glad to see that you're here functioning. We are physically distanced. Let's put it that way. I don't like the term social distancing because I don't believe that we should ever be socially disconnected. I believe that we can still stay connected even if we're physically distanced, and we've all lived that through the zombie apocalypse, as I said. But I'm glad you're doing well. My experience with COVID was the same. I can see you put effort in. I believe our body's a miraculous creation that's meant to live with viruses. I mean, we're a collection of viruses and bacteria as we sit here, no matter whether we have COVID or whatever anyway. So it's just a matter of keeping this temple or this body functioning the way it's supposed to, or the way it was designed to. So it's brilliant, and I'm glad you're getting the rest. Well, let's do this. I want to take a quick break, and I really want to get back into your story. I'm very excited to hear that and to share that with the audience. So let's take a quick break. For those in the audio audience, you'll hear another snippet of Ricky Jean Wright, and It's Not the Getting There, which is a theme song for this podcast. And we'll be right back with Gini Trask and Warrior versus Zombie. All right, we are back. And Gini, thanks for the check-in. I'm glad that you're here, that the COVID didn't... or the Rona, as some people, or my friends call it, that didn't take you out for being part of this podcast. So, but tell me, tell me your story. Tell us your story. How did you get from where you started? I know you had as we said, I don't know if I said it in the introduction, but I know you have a degree in the arts, right?
Yeah, I have a degree in acting, which
yeah.
has nothing to do with what I do now, but also has a lot to do with what I do now, right?
I agree. Actually, my son is he was a graduate at UT in Austin in RTF, or radio, television, film, and yeah, he's doing some brilliant stuff with nonprofits and foundations, community, or whatever, and there, and tech, and doing some stuff. So I think it's a great foundation. I think that learning to deal with audiences, communicate in a way, both verbally, non-verbally, all of the things that help allow us to function as a team in life is great. So anyway, so tell us about your story.
So my story is kind of a story of coming back to myself. So when I was a kid, I actually didn't really realize how well my environment was working for me and how well things were working for me. I did have, a tumultuous childhood, as many people do. My mother was a drug addict, was in and out of jail. I lived with my dad and my stepmother, who had pretty serious mental health issues. But I lived in the country, way out in the middle of nowhere. There were like no other kids around for me to play with. It was just me and the forest. And I kind of lived out in the forest. What I didn't realize is that was really providing this wonderful sense of grounding that I had. And it was helping me to sort of discharge all of this crazy, chaotic energy that was happening. I would just go out into the forest and make believe. And I was very, very grounded, even into my teen years. I was really kind of that person that my friends would come to get to figure it out, to get their heads kind of screwed on straight. I wound up having a lot of friends that also had tumultuous childhoods, and they would come to me and sort of, we would figure it out, right? I had one friend who had an eating disorder in 7th grade. She was bulimic. And she came and started hanging out with me. And not only did the bulimia get fixed, but she actually now has gone on to have a successful career as a professional belly dancer. And she teaches body confidence and self-confidence, right? And I have some other stories like that as well. So I did a lot of this really amazing transformative work with people as a young, as a teenager. and I was very grounded. Then somewhere along the way, I lost that grounding. So I, went to college, got my degree in acting, knowing kind of that I wouldn't really use the acting degree necessarily in a practical sense. I wasn't going to go off and become an actress. I'm from a family of entrepreneurs. Every single person in my family owns their own business. And all of them own multi-million-dollar businesses. So all of them are seven-figure business owners. Both of my brothers are, millionaires. My dad had a very successful construction company. Both my brothers had construction companies. My stepmother had a successful catering company that was the top catering company in Houston. And then I went into business with my mother. She got into recovery, and she and I got into business together in the early 2000s. And we did $1.5 million in our first 6 months of business in the bus charter business. And things were great. That I was still in that grounded place. I was still in that place. We had the most phenomenal business, and we had the most phenomenal work-life balance. We'd work for a few hours, and then we'd go off and go to Home Depot or go shopping, or we had this beautiful, fantastic life. But a little bit, a little bit into that, a little ways into that, I decided that I needed to know that I could be successful not under the wing of my family. Right? Not that that I could be successful on my own, and that I wasn't under that wing of someone else. So I went to work for a sports travel company. I thought it was interesting. I thought it sounded cool to be able to take people to the Super Bowl and the Final Four and the Masters and the Kentucky Derby. And I was like, this is going to be so exciting. And it was exciting. But it was there that I started to kind of lose my sense of self and my sense of grounding, because I started to kind of take in that conditioning from other people. I was told that I was too personal with my clients, that the clients didn't actually want me to be so chit-chatty with them and so personal with them and ask them questions about their personal life or tell them things about my life, that that's not what people wanted, that it was actually offensive and not okay. And this kind of went on, and I kept getting told how just basically wrong I was for being who I am, and that I was the wrong kind of person, and that I should change who I was. I was encouraged to lie about being married. I was encouraged to lie about pretty much, several things in my life. If clients were to ask, I was to tell them, no, I wasn't married, things like that. It was just very, very odd, but I believed it. Right? I believed that I was wrong, and that this was the right way to do business, and that I had been doing business wrong. I started my first business at 16, but somehow I had been wrong all this time, right? And this other person knew better, and so I started to believe it. Then I got offered the CEO position of that company, turned it down because I didn't feel that it was a fit for me. Went on to work for a couple other guys, building up their businesses. So in the sports travel business, I doubled their business and created client retention, which they didn't have before. They didn't have any client retention. With me, they had a very good client retention. That's one of the things I do, is I create client retention. I have a 100% client retention rate in my own business. So moved on, built businesses for two other guys, went a little better, but at this point, it's sort of like the crowd bigger. Right. And I was like, well, if I was wrong about this, what else am I wrong about? And I sort of started to take on, all these other beliefs from other people about how wrong I was and how I should change and how I should be different. I did eventually go out and start my own business again, Top Tier Travel. And it took me longer to hit the first million this time. It took me 5 years to hit my first million in Top Tier. But I think because I was out on my own, created an even bigger fear, a fear that I really didn't deserve to be in business and that I was wrong. And so I took on these clients who very much, they had kind of that corporate mindset, and I had that entrepreneur mindset, and those two things didn't go very well. And so I just thought, well, I'm just not good at corporate. And so I got further and further into this hole of no longer recognizing myself, no longer knowing who I was in life or in business. If you had asked me what I wanted for lunch, I could not tell you. I would need to ask someone else. Like, well, what do you guys want? What do you want for lunch? Right? I got to the point that even though I was running a successful business, I no longer recognized myself. And I certainly no longer recognized that beautiful life that I had at one time created. I was stressed out all of the time. I was working sometimes up to 120 days in a row. The longest I think I ever did was like 123 days straight. Most of my days were at a minimum 10 to 12 hours, sometimes longer. And I had no work-life balance. I was completely in a hole of stress all the time until I burnt out. And I burnt out so hard that I came within 2 months of closing down a multi-million-dollar company. And luckily, I had my stepmother there by my side as my business coach. And she said, "Oh, sweetie, you're not, because I thought I was depressed. I was literally like, give me the number of your therapist. I'm going to have to go on medication. Like, I'm depressed. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've never felt this way." Right. And she was like, "No, you're just burnt out." It turns out that I had built a business that was toxic for me. I had built up so many things that didn't work for me because I really felt that I didn't deserve to do things the way I wanted to do them, that I couldn't do things the way I wanted to do them because I had been told that was wrong, right? And I built an entire business based on nothing that I actually wanted, based around, and I had weak boundaries with my clients. I was getting steamrolled all the time. There was nothing in this business other than the fact that it was making several $1,000,000 a year that made any sense to me. So I began a journey to sort of unpack that and to change and create a life that actually worked for me. And I got on the journey of public speaking, building my business through public speaking, and then really started to realize that I could have the life that I wanted, that I could actually go back to, that first business that I created with my mom, that ease and that flow, and I could still make all the money. As a matter of fact, I could make more money. And now I really do have this beautiful balance of life. My business looks exactly the way that I want it to look. I make money selling retreats and selling courses and programs that help other entrepreneurs to really change their businesses and to run their businesses in the way that works for them. It has to work for you guys.
So brilliant. And you said a word that triggers me wanting to kind of move on. So you said now. So we've kind of I now kind of have the journey, but I just want the warriors that are listening to this to really kind of understand, because there's so much brilliance in what you've told already as a story. First of all, the tumultuous childhood and the challenges that you experienced. One of the things that was brilliant there is we all have a part of that. That's always there. Some different, we're all different. Everything is unique, right? But you managed to go through that. I love the grounding thought process. I love the, what you really described was, being within yourself and doing what it took for you to be, happy, to be moving forward. And then you got into a situation where it was focused on other people or other people who had an opinion. Frankly, listening to your story, one of the things I heard in the early stages when they were telling you everything you were doing wrong was really everything you were doing right. That was really the secret sauce behind what you were doing, because you were being authentic. And then you got into this place, where you weren't authentic anymore. And frankly, anybody has to find that. It's not just work-life balance. Sometimes I say work-life balance is a myth, because sometimes you're full intensity on work, sometimes you're full intensity on pleasure. You have, the balance is really sustainability. It's being able to do whatever it is over a period of time, and sometimes we get to swing to one to the other. So you kind of illustrated that for us as well. And then now we're talking about, to a degree, how you've kind of migrated, coming back, which is kind of that's a brilliant thought process in terms of this, coming back to the grounding that really provided you the core of your existence, that is the foundation moving forward. So it's brilliant. So let's do this. I want to take a quick break because I really, really want to talk about, why you're doing what you're doing, the value you see yourself providing today, and where you're going with your speaking, with your coaching. Going to have you as a mastermind guest tomorrow. So if anybody wants to follow up with this and hears this before tomorrow, be brilliant, or wants to hear the replay. But anyway, let's take a quick break. We'll be right here, a little more Ricky Gene Wright, and we're going to be right back with Gini Trask and Warrior versus Zombie. All right. Wow. Fast ride. Covered a lot of ground. Love, love, love your story. So much alignment, so many things, so many nuggets there. I'm going to listen to it over and over and over again because there's so many things I feel and can see that you've learned over your journey. But let's share with our warrior guests or our warrior listeners how why you're doing what you're doing, what is it that you see yourself today providing as unique value, and what kind of impact you're hoping to have as we move forward.
So thank you for that opportunity to kind of talk about that. For me, I see other people going down the path of creating businesses that are what they think they should look like. I'm here to tell you guys. So I didn't realize, because I come from a family of entrepreneurs, I didn't actually realize that people had like 5 and 6 figure businesses. I didn't. Everyone in my family has, $1 million businesses, but it's about what works for you, right? And one of the best experiences I ever had is that I got the pleasure of being in a mastermind with John Favreau, the guy that did the Iron Man series, right?
Love John.
Yeah, he's a fantastic guy, really fantastic. And he said, guys, here's the thing. There comes a point where all your needs are taken care of. And then you think to yourself, should but I could do this and I could make this much more. He said, and you've really got to figure out whether or not that juice is worth the squeeze, because I'm here to tell you that a lot of times it isn't, right? What it's going to take you to get to that next level is actually going to rob you of all the freedom and beauty that you're enjoying right now, just to try to get to that next level. Now, for some people, it's imperative to them that they go out and build a 7-figure business because they want that brass ring and they want to say that they did that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Guys, also keep in mind that a 7-figure business doesn't mean you're making 7 figures, right? It means the business has 7-figure revenues, right? Doesn't mean that you're making 7 figures. And it's also easier to make 7 figures when you're selling something that's a 6-figure something or a 5-figure something, right? I mean, I was selling Super Bowl packages, right? They're $10 or $20 or $50,000 a package, right? So that makes it easier to reach those revenues. I was taking thousands of people to Puerto Vallarta and places like that on these huge incentive trips. One incentive trip could be $750,000, right? So keep in mind that, yes, it was a 7-figure business. Now, but if I took and I had the same volume of clients in a different business, right, it would be a 6-figure business, right? And that's okay. It doesn't mean that business is less worthy. So first of all is to know that, what other people have might not be what you want. You really have to get aligned with what it is that works for you and what you want. And that starts with, what's the life that you want to have, right? What kind of life do you want to have? What does that feel like? And it's more about what it feels like than necessarily what it looks like, because what it looks like we take from other people, and we look out the window, we look on the window of Facebook and we go, oh, well, they have this thing, and so I want this thing. But in reality, what it takes to get that thing, what they went through to get that thing, you might not want to go through. You might not actually like the way that it feels when you're over there, right? So it's really more about getting aligned with yourself and what is right for you and the type of life that you want to have, because your business should work for you.
Brilliant. First of all, I can't even express to you how aligned we are in terms of the thought process, because having a 7-digit income at one point when I retired 16 years ago, I realized that it's not about the money, and it's not about, it's really about living. By the way, I'm still retired. You're part of my retirement here today, because I live a version of my ideal day every day. That's why the theme song is it's not the getting there, it's the journey every day. It's not a race to see how many people know your name. One day you'll realize time was worth more than the gold. And I got to a point where I realized that I was going to get to the end of the journey, whatever that was, with a huge amount of regret, even though, live in a large house, living large, doing all the things that if you curated my Facebook page, which I did, I had one, but I didn't, you'd say, oh, I want to be like him, and so the brilliance of what you just said, the way you're focused forward. Let me ask you this: what kind, so you're doing what you're doing. It's, your focus is brilliant. The helping, realizing that it's not the size of the revenue, but it's really how the ultimate net, if you will, or how it contributes to you living your ideal day, which is what I heard from what you were saying. What kind of impact are you hoping to have? How big? How, when it comes to things? What?
Well, thanks. I mean, I do feel that I do want to impact millions, and I feel like I'm on the way. We have done we do a lot of summits. I have my Badass Women in Business Summit. My business partner Kimberly Crow and I have an event every week called Speakers Playhouse. We have an once a year event called Voices of Women that happens on International Women's Day. We had 200 female speakers on there, and it's not all about women. I also love it. I actually allow men to speak on my Badass Women in Business Summit. I do, because I think that sometimes as women, we still need to hear what you guys have to say. And, I think that you guys, men have a lot of wisdom as well. So, but I do think the reason I'm so passionate about helping entrepreneurs to connect through public speaking is that is, in my opinion, the best way to make a huge impact, right? Getting yourself seen and heard, getting your message out there. All of you have magic inside of you. All of you have a message that really could change lives if people could just hear it. And so I believe that the best way to build your business as an entrepreneur is through public speaking, because public speaking actually becomes public impact. When you stand on a stage with a mic in your hand, you open up the opportunity to create magic in someone else's life. You don't know how much that person in the audience needed to hear exactly what you had to say. And even if you think that what you're saying is something that they've already heard, right? They haven't heard it from you. They haven't heard it from your heart, from your experience, the way that you say it, and somebody needs to hear it. So I believe in impacting millions, and I believe that all of you can actually impact millions on a global level, especially the way that public speaking has developed now with Zoom and being able to reach around the world.
Well, so far, all I can say is amen on a number of fronts. One is women rule. I believe 95% of the decisions that are made on doing anything really has a woman behind it or in front of it, making the decision or influencing the man in their life. I am from Mars. You are from Venus. But I do appreciate the fact that we both can learn from each other, and having 4 daughters and a wife and even female dogs at times and whatever. I've had plenty of estrogen. I've had plenty of that influence. By their admission, probably not enough, but I'm doing my best. And so I appreciate the willingness to involve that. I love getting your message out there. Actually, Orlia Moore, who was my podcast guest a couple of weeks ago, basically kind of her thing is don't take your story to the grave. We all have a story. It's, even though that's why I say we all have unique value. We all have a unique reason for being on the planet. We all have a unique vision of what kind of impact we want to have, even though it sounds like somebody else. It's not the curated Facebook page. We all have a story. So that is absolutely brilliant. Well, let's do this. I want to come back to what I call the land the plane segment, and you've given the audience. There's so much more I know, and I'm excited to have you an hour and a half of you with some of my network tomorrow, where we can kind of noodle through some of this stuff and maybe provide some focus. But let's do this. Take a quick break. We're going to come back with the last segment here after we hear a little bit of Ricky Jean Wright for the audio audience. And I want to hear if we take away anything from this, your story, where you are today, what would you want us to take away, and then how do we stay in touch? So let's take another quick break. We'll hear a little more of Ricky Jean Wright, and we'll be back with Warrior versus Zombie. All right, Ginny. I can already tell we're gonna do this and something like this again, because you're amazing, and I love your energy. I love your focus. I love your journey. I mean, everything is encouraging to me, and I know it'll be encouraging to the audience. So, as I said before the break, what would you want us to take away from this podcast, if we take away anything?
So I want everyone to know that you are magic, and the world needs your magic. And your business is an opportunity for you to impact the world. Your business is an opportunity for you to share your magic with the world. But the thing is it's your magic. It's not someone else's magic, it's yours. And whatever that looks like, whatever that is, it is uniquely you. So the more that you can be you, the more authentic that you can be, the more you actually can help other people. People need the real you, not the conditioned you, not the you that people told you should be. They need the real you. So, I suggest that you guys, if you feel like that piece is lost, start a journey to find it. If you feel like that you've got it, get out there in a bigger way. And make an even bigger impact, because people really are looking for that unique brand of magic that you have. They're out there. Those perfect customers are out there. But you do need to get seen and heard in order for them to find you. So just please, please, please go out and share your magic with the world.
Wow. Another interesting way of conveying the message. I love it. I love the focus, the magic. We all have it. It's not, just taking your story to the grave, but it's also sharing your magic with the world. And I love, love, love that way of thinking. And as you say, regardless of the environment that you're in right now, or the opportunity that you have today, it's still an opportunity to share your magic, whether you're doing it in a corporate structure, whether you're doing it as a speaker from the stage, whether you're doing it in your business. You should understand every day, right, what it is that the magic that you're sharing, and look for the opportunities in what you're dealing with today, and then find ways to expand that. So that's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So tell us, Jenny, how do we stay in touch with you? I know we're doing this on the Be Connected platform, so I know they can reach out to you, and GINI, probably with that only 10,000 people in that community, you'll probably come up right at the top of the list. But how else do we find you, or is there any other way that you'd like us to know?
Yeah, so definitely you can find me on Be Connected under Gini Trask. Speakers Playhouse is a great way to get connected with me. It's a really fun hour or 90-minute long, I say it's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride for networking, right? It's super crazy, it's super fun. It happens right after this, actually. Okay. But Speakers Playhouse is a great way to reach us, and it's just speakersplayhouse.com, and it's a wonderful way to get connected with myself and Kimberly. And I do a lot of classes through there, through that platform, about reading the label on your jar of magic. Right? It's sometimes you guys can't read the label because you're inside the jar. So you need somebody to help you read that label on the outside of your jar of magic. So we talk a lot about that. And really it is about getting clear about who you are. And you guys will see if you ever come. We have so many amazing, unique people that are just really, diving deep into their own authenticity. And that's one of the things I love about it. It's a really fun community.
Okay. Well, wow. So speakersplayhouse.com, is that?
Yeah.
Sounds brilliant. And you know, you said you do let guys in there, right?
Yes, we do. We do. We have lots of guys. We have lots of guys. It's actually great.
Okay, well then, you know, I might just hop in there myself and kind of see what y'all are doing. See, I'm always looking to learn and get a different view of the beach ball, as I say. So I love that. So yeah, so reach out to Jenny either on Be Connected or speakersplayhouse.com, and I'm sure she's not hard to find anyways. You can find her out there, but you can just Google Gini Trask and probably find her as well. That's how I did at first after I got to know that I was going to be talking to you. So brilliant. I love it. And well, we're going to have to land the plane for this episode. And happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody here. We'll be back next Thursday at 11 Central for another episode of Warrior versus Zombie. And now let's hear final outro of It's Not the Getting There with Ricky Jean Wright, and we'll be back next week. Have a beautiful day. Thank you again, Jenny.
Thanks so much for having me.
Jenny. I said Jenny, and I didn't intend.
You're close enough.
All right. Have a beautiful day.